Hello, everybody. Welcome into our pre-show here on Computer America. Got a great show planned for you. In the second hour, we're going to be doing computer and technology news. That's brought to you by Slimware Utilities. They are the official optimization software of Computer America. And in the first hour, we're going to be talking to a company called Fracture. Okay, and they do some incredible work with your photographs. And I'm not going to tell you any more about it, except we have the company's CEO and co-founder is here with us, and we're going to be talking to him about it. And we actually have some examples, and for you to see. I think you're going to find this really, really interesting. And again, since it's Friday, we're going to have our social media winner of the week coming up as well.
1 minute until showtime.
We're going to give away that Logitech M535 Bluetooth mouse valued at $40. So sit back and relax. Enjoy 2 hours of Computer America as we begin in about less than a minute. $30 seconds.
And by the way, folks, it's really nice that a lot of you came out yesterday to join us on our Linux show. That was great.
Yes, thanks to all of you for that. 10 seconds.
Your show will go live in 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1.
Broadcasting live, it's America's longest-running national radio talk show on computers, Computer America, hosted by national columnist Craig Crossman. Look for Craig's weekly column in your favorite newspaper. This show is being beamed nationwide at ComputerAmerica.com. Keep it here for technology news, computer products, guest interviews, and your phone calls. You're listening to Computer America.
Hello and welcome into the Computer America Show. It's the nation's longest-running, nationally syndicated radio talk show on computers. Computer America is heard around the world and coast to coast. And I'm your host, Craig Crossman.
And I'm your co-host, Ben.
And it is Friday once again. Yes, yay! Another week of broadcasting excellence in the can, as they say, and we have a terrific show planned for you here on Computer America. It's been a very interesting week here. A lot of things have been happening, and obviously with the passing of Prince, it all kind of happened.
Yeah, that was incredibly sudden.
Yeah, we're not expecting that at all, and so we'll talk a little bit more about that, I think, in the second hour of the program. And again, in the second hour, we're going to do computer and technology news. That'll be brought to you by Slimware Utilities. They are the official optimization software of Computer America, and we'll be talking to and we'll be doing some very interesting news stories in that hour. The other thing that we're going to be doing as I mentioned, it's Friday, so we're going to have our social media winner of the week is coming up. We're going to be giving away a really nice prize from Logitech. That's the M535 Bluetooth wireless mouse. That at $40, and we're going to be giving that away to some lucky person. If you haven't registered for a contest, please do so. You don't have a chance for today, but you'll have your chances for next week. You get up to 5 different chances every single week. Just head over to ComputerAmerica.com and you can check it out for yourself. So in the first hour, we're going to be talking about to a company called Fracture, and they do some amazing things. They basically take your photographs or images, whatever you take, and print them directly to glass. These are absolutely gorgeous and stunning, and we're going to have some examples for you to see. We're going to talk to the CEO and co-founder of Fracture. Is going to be here. Mr. Abi Lokesh is going to be joining us. If you have a comment or question, give us a call at 347-884-8881. That's 347-884-8881. We'll get you on and get you through. If you want, also, if you have a comment or question and you're a little radio shy, you don't want to go in the air, you can communicate with us. Just go to any page at computeramerica.com. In the upper right-hand corner, you'll see it says submit a question. Again, on any page. It's a link. Click it, and it'll take you to our question submission page. You can type in your question, and you can click the submit button. Ben and I will see what you've typed immediately. It's real simple. The other thing that you can do is also watch our live streaming video. It's real simple to do. Go to computeramerica.com. Any page there, you'll see on the menu bar it says Show Lounge. Click it. You'll go to our live video streaming page. You can see our guests. You can see Ben. Ben also has the technology to display websites, video links, movies, the actual videos themselves. You can see all that, so it just makes for a more interactive experience, and we welcome you to go over to computeramerica.com. In fact, anything having to do with our broadcast, computeramerica.com is at the internet home of our radio broadcast, computeramerica.com. Please check it out and look at all the wonderful things that we have to offer you. Ben, anything else you want to mention before we get started?
Anything else? No, I think we are good to go.
Okay, well, all right, good. So let's get started. As I mentioned to you, you're going to hear about the future of photo and art displays. These things are really gorgeous. The company's called Fracture, and they print your photos in vivid color directly to glass. It's a picture frame and mount, basically all in one. Fractures, as they refer to these productions, are different from traditional pictures and frames. Boy, they are. Instead of printing on paper, they print directly on glass. They're beautiful. I mean, really, they're quite stunning. Instead of separating the picture, frame, and mount, a Fracture combines all three of these things into a beautiful, lasting final product. Now, joining us is Abhi Lokesh.
Hey guys, how are we doing?
He is the CEO and co-founder of Fracture. Abhi, welcome into Computer America. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you guys for having me.
Our pleasure. And so I kind of gave an introduction, but why don't you tell our listeners a little bit more about what a Fracture is?
Certainly. So Fracture is a modern photo decor company. Our vision and our mission was always centered around creating the best, simplest, craftsmanship-oriented photo decor experience possible, and we really wanted to make photo printing and framing as simple and easy a experience for anyone who wanted to get their images off their camera and onto the wall. And there's a lot of unique elements to us as a company, and I'm sure we'll dive into a lot of them. But to keep it short and sweet, our goal is to get your memories, out of your camera, out of your digital hard drive, out of the cloud, out of all those digital shoe boxes where you kind of stuff pictures away and you completely forget about them, and get those special ones that mean something to you and get them into the real world, get them on your walls.
Well, I certainly can't see stuffing a Fracture into a shoebox. There's no question about it. But let's back up just a little bit more. I mean, how did you come about this idea? Where did the idea for a Fracture actually come from?
Sure. So it was a very interesting journey, and it started when my co-founder Alex and I were in undergrad at the University of Florida, and it started actually as a side project for a nonprofit initiative that we had co-founded as well. And to try and generate funds for that nonprofit initiative, we created this little online art gallery where we would work with artists all around the world. We would get licenses for their art. We would brand it under this nonprofit name, and then we would sell it to whoever purchased them online. And once they were purchased, any of the final profits would then go towards the nonprofit. So we were just trying to be this kind of unique, innovative nonprofit model. Didn't go very well. We were both full-time undergrad students. We got a lot on our plates, a lot on our minds, and so we just kind of puttered along and did what we had to simply keep this little website endeavor alive. As luck would have it, we actually ended up winning a $10,000 grant to go to Swaziland in southern Africa in the summer of 2008.
Yeah.
And it was a surreal experience, a life-changing experience. And one of the unintended consequences was that Alex and myself, got to spend a lot of time with each other, and we kept coming back and talking about this online side project endeavor that we had kind of tinkered around with for the past couple years, and it led to more and more conversation around, is there something really there for us as a genuine market opportunity? Is it bigger than what we were giving it credit for? What's the bigger picture here? What's the world looking like when it comes to digital imaging? So remember, this is 2008, so smartphones are just starting to make their climb up as the primary photo taking device. Online photo editing and digital imaging is starting to get more and more popular. And we just thought to ourselves, what if we could create a physical product that made it as easy as possible to get your digital images off your camera and on your wall? And that was kind of the genesis of the original idea. And Alex, as my technical co-founder, he's a genius when it comes to taking ideas and making them into a reality. And he was just really confident that if we wanted to pursue this, we could start taking baby steps. So start researching, start creating some basic prototypes, and long story short, we came back from Africa that summer, and we decided that we had everything to gain, very little to lose, and we just wanted to go for it. So that's kind of the synopsis of how the idea for Fracture actually came about.
So, okay, but we'll continue on. In other words, where did you get to the point and say, we're not going to print on paper because a lot of companies already do that. We need to find the print.
Well, there's paper, and then there was another idea. I'm saying about the same time frame as that you're describing. It never caught on. I think Craig had like one, and like he didn't even keep it around. And big into technology. The digital picture frame, where you kind of upload photos into a traditional looking picture frame, but it was like that never caught on either.
Correct.
So.
Correct.
There were a lot of digital picture frames out at that point, and there's been said different sizes. They didn't really get. So you were sitting around, and you said, okay, well, we need to print something, and we could do something really nice paper or a matte finish, but there were companies already do this. So when did you hit on the idea that, hey, let's print on glass? It's not something that just comes along,
Right.
What was the genesis? What was the spark that made you think of glass?
Sure. So that was actually a big point of conversation amongst Alex and myself. And the way we looked at it, we thought of printing on glass as the evolution of the photo frame. So if you consider that a traditional photo frame is simply a piece of photo paper that is stuck behind a piece of glass, then you put on a mat, you put on the frame, and then you hang it on the wall, we thought to ourselves, well, wouldn't it be a pretty neat evolution of that product if we were able to remove a lot of the middlemen, remove a lot of those moving parts, and print directly onto the glass itself? And again, this is really a lot of kudos to Alex, because he was really starting to think about the benefits of printing on glass. The closer you're able to get the actual image to the glass, to that material, could you achieve a higher resolution look? Could it look sharper? Could it look clearer? What sort of efficiencies would it gain from a production standpoint? Could we make this thing really simple to produce? And so for us, it kind of seemed to check all the boxes regarding a really cool, innovative product that kind of continued along the story of photo framing and bringing it into the digital age. And so for that purpose, glass seemed to really stand out.
Well, but now we're talking about 2009, 2010. Since no one else was doing it, I understand the genesis. How did you go about finding if this technology was even possible?
That's a good point. And so you'd be surprised. So even though it was 2008, 2009, what we learned is that printing on glass has actually been around for a while. And I think like a lot of great ideas or concepts that turn into reality, it was really a matter of looking at what already existed, specifically from a manufacturing standpoint or from a technology standpoint, and kind of turning it on its head as to what it's used for, or how to really apply it to your purpose. So in our case, printing on glass has been around industrially for a while. It is not a new process, but no one had really ever thought to consider how it would fare, how it would perform as a consumer product. So this was actually one of the hardest pieces of the puzzle for us, because we had to really take the existing printing on glass technologies and really push them to their limits to see if there was one methodology, one process that produced the quality that we wanted. Because if you take the at that point existing process of printing on glass, they were really meant for online applications, windows, signs, etc., things that you look at from a distance. And here we are trying to create the next great photo decor product. This is something that you're going to be looking at from 4 inches away, from 2 inches away, up close and personal. So we really pushed the envelope on taking those technologies and just trying to gear them for our use.
So you mentioned that the process of printing on glass has been around for some time.
Mm-hmm.
What were some of the applications where they were printing on glass? Not your technique, but what was being done at the time?
Right. So a lot of industrial signage, a lot of printing on windows, on materials that, like I said, the quality or the DPI, the resolution wasn't necessarily the most important factor. It was just the look of having laid down an image on a hard surface. And so it may not even have been just glass. There was printing on woods, metals, acrylics, etc. So the concept of printing on a hard, flat surface like glass has been around for decades. And again, so we just really, I think we shook things up a little bit and said, well, if it can be used for this, why not this? And I think honestly, a lot of the time, the power comes from asking why. Why not? Why not? How come? And that's really what took us off.
So you asked why not this? So okay, so you said okay. Now the technology's been around, but we see it on window signage. We see the manufacturer, but now we want to do this way. So okay. So where did you turn? Did you go to the people the manufacturers that were doing it?
It's like, well, we need this machine, but all of yours have like 15 DPI, and we're going to need at least 300 to 600.
So where do you turn to then? What did you do then?
Sure. I mean, we went everywhere. We went all over the world looking for a printer that could achieve what we were looking for, and it wasn't easy. We investigated a number of processes. Sublimation.
Did you go like Epson and I mean some of the big printers, or did you
No,
start?
we did. Listen, we left no stone unturned, right? And I think this is what you have to do when you're trying to create something and you're really passionate and focused on coming up with the best solution possible. We looked everywhere. Actually, our very first fracture prints were printed on a normal desktop printer that you'd find at home or in a college dorm somewhere. Alex, again, being Alex, jerry-rigged this printer to force feed a piece of glass into it, and he also manipulated the glass itself to make the surface be able to accept ink. And so I remember it was my senior year, the fall of my senior year. He comes over and he shows me these really rough prototypes, and I think that was the aha moment where it was like, okay, this is for real. This can exist. It looked good. It was rough. It was basic, but here's an image. It looks really sharp, and it's printed on glass. This is all the validation we need. Of course, there's plenty more work to be done, but the MVP, right, the minimal viable product, has been proven. This thing can exist.
Okay, so I'm just taking our listeners step by step. So you finally got this MVP.
Sure.
You got to prove the process.
See, and that's kind of disappointing to me. I was hoping that you were, like I'd picture you and Alex going through the jungles of Tanzania, trying to talk the local sign language. It's like, here's what we need. Going like scaling mountains in Nepal. It's like, here's what we need. But,
I don't think I'm not going to find this on a mountaintop. So So you had this, so now you had to go back to a printer manufacturer and say, this is what we need for you to make for us? I mean, what was the next step at that point?
Right, so again, we were limited in a number of ways, right? So there's capital constraints, there's money constraints, there were engineering constraints as to what we were actually able to work with. But again, to Alex's credit, what we really decided to do was take what was actually available to us and make the best of certain technologies. And as we grew and as we were able to afford more, afford better, we were actually fortunate to be coming along with the glass printing industry or with the hard surface printing industry, where it was developing very quickly as well. This is the digital age where advancements and progress is happening so quickly that we knew there would be advancements coming around the corner that we could take advantage of, but we couldn't wait for those. We had to work with what we had. So we went to a printer manufacturer, so let's take a step back first and foremost. This takes money, right? So, nothing could be done without money. I think what's really unique about us versus a lot of other digital companies these days, or purely digital companies, is that we actually build something real, tangible, right? Something that actually is shipped to your door, that you open, you touch, you feel, you can break. And so for us, capital was a really big deal because we couldn't do anything unless we could buy a basic level of machinery. So I actually went to my father and a couple of his weekend stock group buddies, and we pitched to them to say, hey, listen, we want some seed capital to allow us to buy a basic level printer that's good enough for us to crank out a couple of these prints, for us to put up a website, et cetera, et cetera. And surprisingly, they agreed. Of course, it wasn't just like, yeah, sure, whatever, here's a check. We treated it like a business opportunity. We treated it like a business pitch, a plan. We really went out there and put it out there as to how serious we were. I think they saw that in us, and they were willing to, kind of front us the cash a little bit. Mm-hmm. And so for months, we found a small little facility, north of Gainesville here, out in the boonies. Rent is really cheap. And it just allowed us to keep our heads down and tinker and prototype and figure this thing out on a basic level. So that was the next immediate step. So we got the MVP. Now we actually need to see if this thing can be a real process connected to a website, right? Actually, kind of get a basic version of an actual fulfillment platform, not just us printing one-off prints to prove we can do it and showing it to friends and family.
Okay, so you got the website development. Alex did that himself as well, or you went to a website developer? Or what?
We did actually go to a third-party web development house for a little bit, just again because this seemed to be a common issue with us. The things that we wanted to do, both from a web dev perspective and from even the product perspective, were very unique and very novel, and we kept running up against these walls where people were like, "Well, that's not usually what we do, and that's not how we normally do it." So at a certain point in time, we had to take matters in our own hands, and we've learned that's a very valuable lesson, especially when you're bootstrapping and starting on your own. So we did run into that quite a little bit, but to answer your question in short, we did get help from a third-party house.
Okay, so you finally found somebody that would listen to what it was that you understand what it is that you were trying to do, have enough foresight to understand what it is that you wanted to do. Because obviously the website has to, you have to be able to upload photos, images,
everything, right?
And I'll be honest, I'm sure we're going to talk about it a little bit more later. But I found the online experience of the whole Fracture thing to be actually the best, because like I have a heck of a time trying to get my photos off my phone onto my computer, upload them in the proper format with the proper size, and blah 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 blah. Your guys' mobile website was crazy simple.
Well, I'll tell you what, that's very that's great to hear, but we are not satisfied at all with our mobile website, and
really?
Frankly, we think it's pretty poor. Not to shoot a great compliment down. Thank you. But for us, there's so much to learn when it comes to specifically the platform, because you're absolutely right. And just think about it from the mindset of a consumer, especially in this day and age. Our attention spans are so short, and websites have to perform so well, so quickly, so seamlessly that if they don't, you're gone. You're out of there. Like, frustration hits you within a moment's notice, and you're like, well, this isn't worth it. I can't get this off my phone and on my computer ASAP.
Well,
so we've actually been working on a revamped mobile website platform that's night and day compared to our current one. So keep an eye out for that. That should be launching pretty soon.
Well, now, let me ask you this. The first is, why not just say, hey, let's just outsource the whole process? Why do you prefer for Fracture to do it all in-house?
That's a good question, and that mode of thinking where we do it all in-house I think has been really critical to our long-term success. Frankly, guys, we felt like we could do it better than anyone else. Not to come off as too cocky or arrogant, we just thought, listen, we've reviewed what's out there. We've seen the landscape, and it's simply not being done the way we want it to be done. But from also an economic perspective, us doing it ourselves was significantly cheaper. like let's not kid ourselves. To build a website like the one that we had, if we were to outsource it to a third-party house, would have cost a ton of money. And between Alex and the developers that we could find and the houses that we could work with, we were able to cobble together enough of a website that worked, right? And for us, that's what it was all about. Just getting together something that worked to the point where we could prove ourselves consistently over time. But to answer your specific question about why we do it all in-house, I think that's our special sauce. I think that's what makes us different. We're able to control every part of the process, and that in turn creates the best customer experience possible. And at the end of the day, is what this is all about. We're able to talk to our customer happiness team, to our manufacturing team, to our R&D team, to our engineering team. Within the snap of a finger, I can walk around to every single one of them and see how they're doing and see how their job is connecting to the next person's job. Being vertically integrated and being kind of this full stack direct-to-consumer commerce company, even though it was a massive amount to bite off in the beginning, and it almost killed us plenty of times, surviving and actually bringing it all together has been a huge boon for us, because we're just able to move at a speed that I don't think many other companies can move at when it's always outsourced and you're working with disparate people all over the place.
So keeping it all under your control, under your thumb, basically. So, and you picked Florida for a tech manufacturing startup. Was it because it was just cheaper? Was that the main motivation for Florida, or you were already going to? Was it University of Gainesville? I mean, you were nearby. I mean, what was?
Right.
It's like, well, I have this really big couch. I didn't feel like moving it, so
Yeah. So we are in Gainesville, the University of Florida's hometown, and this was interesting because we really didn't put a lot of, looking back on it, we really didn't put a lot of conscious thought into the decision. It's where we were, right? So we were like, well, this is where we are. It is very affordable to live here. I'm not going to lie to you. We always had dreams of going to a Silicon Valley or a bigger hub. It sounds cool. It sounds like an adventure. But for us, time was ticking. We did have that capital that my father and his investment group had given us, and we just needed to get things moving ASAP. So for us, it was the lowest hanging fruit. We're here. Let's rent out a little place. Let's ship the stuff over here, the equipment, and let's just get cranking. And again, I think the good thing for us from a customer experience perspective is that no one cares where we are. As long as we get you your product as fast as possible, that's all that matters.
Right, and that makes perfect sense. I mean, you could set up, your mailing, the FedEx, the delivery, whatever you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter where you are, and it doesn't matter where these things. I mean, you're not hanging oranges on these things. I mean, it doesn't matter. It's the product itself. So you got it.
Not to mention the plethora of college students you have at your disposal who want to, a part-time job or what have you.
That is true, but actually, not to go off on a crazy tangent, but that was actually a double-edged sword, because I mean, if you think about it, that workforce, right, is transient, right? It's like a revolving door. So even though it was cheap, and even though it is plentiful, it's really hard to keep students, because for them it's always a part-time gig that is something to keep them occupied, something to pay the bills, something to pay for pizza, whatever the case may be. But it's not a full-time job. It's not something they're committed to. And again, for us, our team is the most important thing in this company, hands down, bar none. So if we're trying to build this committed team of employees and teammates who believe in the vision, etc., it's hard to supply that from a collegiate workforce. But it was great for us to start with, because like I said, low-hanging fruit. We needed hands. We needed active bodies. We needed people to help spread the word, and that's how you had to start. But it presented.
You say you got it cranking, you got it up and running. Are you profitable yet, or are you still, where are you at this point? Yeah,
so last year we were both cash flow positive and profitable. It was a huge step for us. It was something we committed to doing and being for a very long time, specifically because our business model is very simple. It is very straightforward, right? We offer a product, you like product, you buy it, we make money. That's how it should work. And I say that in contrast to what could be considered convoluted business models for a lot of other digital apps or services, where there's a premium model or a freemium model, or some
Right.
sort of search engine advertising model that
You don't
doesn't
have
really
that.
make sense. No, for us it was, listen,
Like that.
we
Yeah.
sell a great product. In that instance, we're kind of retro, but that's also what we really cherished about this. We're doing something old school manufacturing, but we're doing it in a very modern digital age way. So yes, we are cash flow positive. We are profitable, and that's something that I never want to go back on.
No, you don't. So, so basically, what about inventory? I mean, are there costs? I mean, how much inventory do you have to keep on hand, I guess, in order to keep things going along? And how do you predict how much you want? I mean, how much cash do you invest in your inventory to produce these images?
Yeah, these are questions that once I find the answers to, I'll be happy to come back on and let you know. But it's an ongoing challenge because we're never staying the same size, right? So as a constantly growing company, that inventory question requires a knowledge component about what sort of demand we're bringing in, what sort of demand our forecast is expecting to bring in. So unquestionably, though, our inventory needs have grown month over month, year over year. Lately, it seems like we can't keep enough inventory on the shelves. Our manufacturing fulfillment operation is constantly feeding our printers and our fulfillment team with more and more raw inventory. Go ahead.
But the raw inventory isn't that diverse where you have, I mean, because that's the beauty of what you're doing. I mean, you have the raw stock. You have basically a couple of sizes, and that's it. The rest, everything, and the printing and the ink maybe, and that's about it, right? The cost of disposables.
Correct. So like I said, it in itself, in a vacuum, you're right, isn't really that difficult. I think the equation gets a little more complicated when we try and just figure out, again, because we're trying to be this self-sustaining independent company, we don't want to keep taking on oodles of investment capital, and so cash flow becomes somewhat of a premium. We're trying to figure out, well, how much money do we need to dedicate to having X amount of inventory on hand versus spending it on marketing or
well, I'll tell you what. Okay, so listen. So we're at the bottom of the hour here. We take a break, and then I want to actually show some examples of fractures, and people get a better idea the actual product, what it looks like. Ben's got a couple of samples we'll be holding up if you're watching the live streaming video, or of course you can go to the website at fractureme.com, or head over to computeramerica.com. We have the link there as well. You're listening to the Computer America Show. Ben and I are talking to Abhi Lokesh. He's the CEO and co-founder of Fracture. We're going to take a break, and then we'll be right back with more right after this. Stay with us.
Sometimes disaster strikes. Data can be lost due to many different reasons: accidental reformatting, power spikes, virus attacks. Zero Assumption Recovery provides a suite of highly effective and thorough data recovery software for Windows operating systems. XA is suitable for home users and small businesses who need a powerful data recovery solution for Windows and Linux file systems.
Go to z-a-recovery.com.
Sometimes disaster strikes. Data can be lost due to many different reasons: accidental reformatting, power spikes, virus attacks. Zero Assumption Recovery provides a suite of highly effective and thorough data recovery software for Windows operating systems. XA is suitable for home users and small businesses who need a powerful data recovery solution for Windows and Linux file systems.
Go to z-a-recovery.com.
Hi, this is Craig Crossman, host of the Computer America Show. Long before Vistaprint asked me to tell you about them, my wife and I have been using Vistaprint for years, making business cards, having the Computer America logo placed on the polo shirts we use at conventions like CES, even printing a business card for our personal lives with our home address and phone number. In fact, Vistaprint offers tons of custom products for home and office needs, and Vistaprint absolutely guarantees you'll love their products every time, or they will make it right. In fact, they'll give you 500 business cards for just $9.99 when you enter my promo code Craig at checkout. Just go to their website at www.vistaprint.com and see how easy it is to design your own stuff using their web-based custom design service. Remember to use my code Craig and save up to 50% over their regular pricing. So don't wait. Go to vistaprint.com and order today.
No.
Those slide rules were not made for playgrounds. Hi, I'm Marty Winston with the News Tips Bulletin Review for Computer America. This time, the Arctic Cove Mister. When it's hot out and you're committed to stay out, whether for work or for play, how much would it make your day to more or less turn a Home Depot bucket into an air conditioner? That's pretty much what an Arctic Cove 18-volt bucket-top misting fan can do. It can use a Ryobi One Plus or Arctic Cove 18-volt lithium battery to power a 2-speed fan and a 2-speed pump. The battery it comes with is rated for up to 3.5 hours per charge. The pump goes through 1.3 gallons per minute in low, 1.8 in high. The water can come either by dropping its filtered feed hose into that bucket of clean water or by connecting a second feed line to a garden hose. Bottom line, when the weather gets hot and you'd rather you're not, the Arctic Cove 18-volt bucket-top misting fan gives you cooling on demand. Marty Winston, News Tips Bulletin for Computer America.
Welcome back to the Computer America Show. Yes, 33 minutes past the hour, and that was Marty Winston with the News Tips Bulletin Review. Last time, you'll be hearing that particular one, by the way. So we have some new ones next week ready to go. So we're looking forward to those. But here in the first hour, we have Fracture here with us and Mr. Abhi Lokesh. And
That is me.
yeah, and you know, I wish we had a tone, kind of like I don't know if any of you ever read, you know, like have the stories that kind of read to you. It's like, you know, it played like a little diddle. It was like turn the page. And like if we had one of those for, okay, folks, now it's time to tune into the video portion because we are going to show off a couple. You guys over there at Fracture were kind enough to, you know, send us a credit, and you know. We got a couple photos printed up, so very, very happy and very, very, you know, excited how they turned out because, you know, they're both photos that I took, and they're both photos that I am not artsy, I am not a photographer, I am not in anything really to do with the arts, but I think they really turned out to, I think they really turned out well, and so I'm going to launch my artistic career right now. So. On the video portion, I'm going to blow myself up. It's going to be kind of fuzzy. Sorry about that. But here's the first image, and this was more of a Mother's Day present, by the way. Hint, hint. Very good idea for Mother's Day. This was one of her garden, or this was one of her roses that she grows out in the garden.
Oh, very cool.
I don't know if you can see that there, but this was taken with an iPhone 5S camera. So, like, they have much better cameras out there already. But the photo that I sent you guys, you know, again through the mobile website, came out very, very sharp, very, very clear.
And it's glass, as you can see, as he's moving the reflection.
Right.
Yeah.
You can see that it's glass. Now, if you hold it sideways, people understand how thin this is.
Yeah, it's there's this black foam, you know, kind of cardboard foam mix backing that, you know, is obviously going to make it rest up against the wall very, very securely, you know, not going to damage anything.
That was
and the glass itself, you know, I can take my fingers and kind of.
Yeah, I think you have a future as a Fracture model, if you'd like. You're
nice, thank you.
very well done.
I was looking for a way to bust into hand modeling, so this is a good stepping stone. But
appreciate it. Yeah, to speak really quickly about that, yeah, it's about 1/4 of an inch thick altogether, and that foam core backing is really helpful. Yeah, go ahead and do your thing. It is really helpful in simply making it sleek enough to hang and stay flush, but also providing an element of durability and functionality to the actual glass print, so it doesn't scratch from the back. It doesn't shatter when you drop it, etc.
And also you've noticed there's a little notch cut up in the back there, so you have the nail or the hook. It just goes directly on it, so that the image really does lie flat on the wall. I mean,
right.
That's an important issue. Most picture frames, they kind of lean forward a little bit. You know, this
wire, what have you. This is not wire.
Yeah, it's not wire, and so you get that kind of a. Now that was one size. That was what size was that, Ben? Or
that was your recommended. That was the middle one. Like
that was a classic. Okay.
Yes.
So
what are the dimensions of that?
So classic is essentially the closest to a traditional print would be kind of like a 11 by 14. So this one's 10.8 by 14.4.
Right.
Okay. All right. So that was the
right.
and that was taken from a photograph of approximately the same size.
Right. Yeah. The photo itself, again, from a bit of an older camera. So, you know, I'm assuming that the better picture that people send you, you know, the higher resolution, the better it's going to look
That is correct, but you actually provided a really good talking point, which is that these days so many cameras, almost all cameras, have just really high quality. Sorry, so many smartphones have really high quality cameras that it's becoming easier and easier to produce high quality fractures because the default files that we're getting are better and better. Now there is a learning curve involved where we have to work with visitors, customers to help them understand about DPI resolution, the best way to get original files from their phones and their computers. But that's something we're happy to do, and the more we do it, the better of an experience we can provide. And ultimately, if we can make that as easy as possible for you to understand, we're going to be doing something well.
So are these JPEGs then? Because JPEG has a form of compression, or did you actually want the raw file? I mean, how?
We can work with a couple. So we work with JPEGs, PNGs, TIFFs, and I think bitmaps files. I think those are the four we work with.
Okay, and as you mentioned, as the megapixel and the DPI camera, the better they are, you will actually, for the most part, you don't really notice it. But when you start to blow things up, that really begins.
Well, and
of high
kind of looking at the video you had there, you had someone who took a photo and then took a segment out of that photo.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like if you wanted to take a wider photo and then you only wanted a small part, when you blow that small part up to, let's say, 10 by 14, or even, your largest is, 22 by 29.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to matter, and again, that's one of the things that we emphasize the most is simply customer education about what happens, because so for us the biggest thing that we don't want to have happen is the customer's expecting one thing, so they're expecting this really crisp, high resolution file, then they crop their image, they cut out a piece, and then they fracture it, and then it comes to them just looking like a bunch of 30 pixels. And so for us, we can't have that happen, and if we do, we really have to own up to it and say, listen, we didn't really hold your hand through the process enough, and we're happy to do so because this is a novel process, a novel product, and there's an education curve involved.
And again, I want to reemphasize that the higher quality, here is where you really see why it's important to have the higher DPI or the higher megapixel cameras, because it's as you begin to blow up the picture, as to expand, make it larger and larger, that's when an image can get pixelated unless the amount of digital information is in that photograph. So when you blow it up, you don't see this pixelation.
On point. Very good basic photography and digital imagery lesson right there.
Yeah, exactly.
And again, kind of going back to what I said earlier, and then you said you completely hated your mobile site, which I think you don't give it enough credit for.
I'm hard on myself. I'll admit that.
Right. And trust me, we're the same way. We've had the same website for about 4 months, and I want to do it all over again. But I was trying to do it from my computer. I was like, forget it. I'll just go on my phone. And all the original photos were, of course, on my phone. Mm-hmm. And, unfortunately, I did not get a chance to talk to your, I'm sure, amazing customer support staff. Mm-hmm. But, I was in and out of the entire, upload the photo, choose the size, ship it, all the information. I was in and out in probably 4 minutes.
Wow, that's great to hear. That's great to hear.
Very, very, very simple. All right, and one thing I didn't really get to mention with the other one is that the edges, this is glass, but you will not hurt yourself.
Correct. These are not shards of glass. This is polished ground glass, and that's actually a very good point because, again, guys, for us, the devil is in the details. Once we score the glass and break the glass, we know that if this is going to be a family-friendly consumer product, we need to think about polished edges. We need to think about little Timmy running through a hallway, knocking up against one of these things and not getting hurt, not cutting himself, not scratching himself. So we really try to take care of such details like that to make sure that this is smooth to the touch.
And now for a drum roll, we're going to show you the largest picture, and we actually wanted to find a member of our family we all know and love. and do it. So Ben,
right? So the classic, which is of course the most popular, about again, set dimensions, and it's pretty decent size. But once you get to the large, and then the extra large, I'm sure is even grander. But the extra large, the large, was more than enough to capture one of our family members, and we have dogs, so we decided to get one of Our dog
Very
Zach.
Very cool. I will say dogs are, along with babies, sunsets, and weddings, probably unquestionably one of the top categories. So he's joining a fine group of puppies and dogs that have been fractured.
Yeah, and again, we have this hanging in our hallway. It's right at eye level, so it looks like he's staring at you. But yeah, no, it even a photo like that, and again, that was a large. So let's see, the size for the large was 15.6 by 20.8.
Yeah.
And that was actually a crop photo of another photo. So
Gotcha.
but it still had, like, you can still see the water drops on his whiskers from when he just got out of the water bowl. Like, it's still very, very high quality that it was printed in.
I have to say, I will come out in the morning and I will find Ben standing in front of the picture saying, "This really speaks to me."
We're glad it touches you so deeply. It's good to have an emotional connection.
It does. It made an emotional connection, Tim, and it really is great to see something like that. So
very cool.
So basically, it's up and running. You say you're going to have some improvements on the website. Let's talk a little bit about cost. I know you have what looks like you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different sizes that you offer at this time.
So yeah, we have 8 standard sizes, including the square sizes. But you're right, we have 5 of the rectangular sizes.
Okay, there are 5 you have square and you have rectangular sizes.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
All right, so a total of 8. And what are the costs? In other words, if someone's going to order, what do they start in? Just go through them all.
Sure. Yeah. So the smallest rectangular product that we offer is essentially what you can consider a 4x6. It's 4.8 inches by 6.4 inches, and it starts at $18. All the way, the middle product is our classic product, which was so kindly modeled for us, and that is the 10.8 by 14.4. And that's $65. And on the large end of the spectrum, we have the extra large, which is $125, and that comes in at basically 22 by 28.
So the picture of Zach, the dog, was $65, which was amazing.
85.
85. Sorry.
The rose was 65.
The rose was 65. Correct.
And again, $85 for the picture of Zach, and that you have to think of that's including everything. I mean, that's got the
correct.
And that's one thing that we were kind of running through in our head was that if you are going to have a photo that is, regardless of the cost of the photo, like let's assume you take it yourself, the cost of the frame, the glass, and the hardware and all that kind of stuff, like at the end of the day, fracture is actually very, very affordable, and let's face it, it's going to last longer because it's printed on glass.
Right, and that is a consideration that a lot of people think about, right? So how does this compare cost-wise, especially time cost-wise and opportunity cost-wise? It's not just the raw materials. It's, are you really going to do as good a job as that framing shop down the street, or even us, if you want this to be a gift or a special memento for someone. So yeah, we really tried to make this all-inclusive, a much more affordable solution than what you otherwise would find.
And again, I love the thought that if you hover over one of the images, you'll see a can of Campbell's soup.
Yep.
So you can
the universal metric.
Yeah,
right,
universal. There's a metric system outside of the U.S. Inside the U.S., we're talking Campbell's soup cans. So.
Exactly, something you can identify with. The size of the device, so it gives you a good feel for the size of the print that you're going to be ordering. And
that is correct.
Very, very clever. And very nice to do. And again, I don't understand why you think this is the website is. I mean, it's.
Well, this is the mobile. This is the full-blown website.
Well, yeah. So this is the full-blown website, and for us, it's really just about constant improvement. We're always trying to figure out ways how to make the process easier, smoother, give you guys more editing options, give you guys more ways, more creativity, more inspiration to use Fracture and to order fractures. So there's just so much that's up our sleeves, and that we're excited to come out with in the coming future, and including new products, new materials. But for us, one of the biggest lessons we've learned is the power of focus. So for us, really, what it boils down to is marketing and sales, and how well we're able to spread the word and generate brand awareness. So doing things like this, talking to you guys, really getting people to understand what a fracture is, who we are, what we value as a company is super critical for us. And everything else comes secondary to us just getting the word out about who we are, the sort of product we make, and kind of what we stand for as a company.
All right, so I'm going to ask you just to step back and for people who are listening to this who might think they're thinking about starting their own startup.
Uh-huh.
But let's face it, there's a lot to being your own boss. There's no
There is.
question that we're
There
here.
is.
And to make that dream happen, if you had to come up with the toughest lesson that you've learned, starting a new company like this, what would it be?
The toughest lesson, that's a good one. I think I'll take advantage of breaking of the question, break it down into two like sub answers, but they really fold into each other. And I think the biggest one is having humility and really learning patience. This will not be fast. It is not going to happen overnight. There is no such thing as an overnight success. It's a sham. They're hoodwinking you if they tell you there is such a thing. For every overnight success took 10 years to build, right? Like that's kind of the common saying. And you have to know that there are so many things that you will not think of, that you cannot possibly know are going to be in store for you, that you have to have the humility to accept, understand, and work through in time. A lot of people just believe that they're the bee's knees from the very beginning, and they have it all figured out. And when the first bit of adversity really hits them, they crumble, they fail. Let's say it could be running out of money, it could be not finding the right team, it could be the market not accepting your product. I think to have the perseverance, the patience, the discipline to kind of keep pushing through those obstacles, and ultimately, making those obstacles your ticket, your way to success is a big deal. And that mindset, to me, is what entrepreneurship is really all about. So that's a big lesson.
It's interesting, everything you're saying. It so much sounds like you're talking about show business. I mean, it's the same thing. I was an overnight success after working for 15 years and honky.
Yeah.
And
exactly.
It's the same thing. You have to believe in yourself, and you have to your product and what you do. And I mean, so there are a lot of parallels going on to both industries. But yeah,
I would agree.
Yeah, exactly. So, so that was the toughest lesson. And advice you may have for others.
Advice I may have is, I think, again, for us, it all boils down to the people. So find the best people possible. And make no exceptions. Your team will be everything to you, for you. Don't put your ego aside. Do not be the smartest person in the room. Find people that are better than you. Find people that are smarter than you. Find people that can challenge you and really push you out of your comfort zone. Again, I think being your own boss, you want to be the boss, right? You want to be the head honcho, the one that's always dishing out instructions and orders. But you're not going to survive that way. You have to be willing to rely on your team. So for me, the team is everything. I've been proven wrong on a lot of things. That's one thing that I don't think I've ever been proven wrong on. So team will carry you through.
So, and by the way, for those watching the video, I see some fractures behind you too.
Yes, I can actually kind of lead them over that way. So those are some pretty cool pop culture icons that you might recognize. So we've got the Hulk, Spider-Man, we've got the Joker up there, Gollum, Darth Maul. So what those images are really are images that you can find in our art store. Just one of the many ways to be inspired to fracture something. There's so much amazing digital art these days produced by people all over the world that I think it's a really cool thing to connect with those artists and see what they produce, and if you like it, get one on your wall. So we do work with artists all around the world.
I was going to say, are there any issues with licensing or?
Yeah, we have to be careful about that. For us, we want to work with unique, original artists who are really investing their time and effort into what they do, and we want to give them a platform to show that off. But when it comes, that's a good question in general. Let's say someone uploads a copyrighted image of a logo,
right?
A pop culture icon, the photo that was taken by a Getty or a Corbis. We cannot police every single image that comes through, right? It's just very difficult for us to do so. We ultimately, in our service agreement, in our terms of service, we make it very clear that it is your responsibility, to be held liable for the ownership of that image.
You had a good lawyer working for you to make sure that.
We did. You can tell I've been well trained in what to say. But it's just a simple truth. We want you guys to own what you print.
So
Right.
tell me now that
And just real quick, we went the personal. I actually went to my mother. And I was like, what photos would you like printed?
Mhm.
And she wanted the rose out of her garden, because she's very proud of that one. And
Right, right.
what have you. But, you guys do have an art store. And I was like, the internet is full of, license-free, royalty-free photos. You can get pictures of any beautiful landscape, planet shots, and, artist renderings. And she's like, nope, I want a rose. But, you don't have to, you don't have to have something right around you that's photo worthy. You have the internet and, the art store here that you have.
Right. Actually, I want to touch on that really quickly, just because we've learned that in this day and age, just because people have access to a really high quality camera all the time in their back pocket, they're making their own art, right? They're telling their own stories, and they want that on their wall. There's only so many Vincent Van Gogh Starry Night prints that you want to see, right? And so there's people love sharing their own lives, their memories. So it's working in our advantage, and we encourage that. Share your memories, get them on your wall. It's so much more original, so much more unique.
What a great way to do that. We only have a few minutes left here,
Sure.
Abhi. So now that Fracture is establishing itself, you got great and everything. What's next for? I mean, what's the next product? Are you going to come out with glass coffee mugs? I mean, what are you going to be printing on?
Right. And so I will definitely say no glass coffee mugs. I apologize for anyone who's looking forward to that. But we're going to keep that a little hush hush because we want to come out with a bang on that. But for us, really, we have a flagship product right now, our glass print, and we just have so far to go with this current product. We still feel like we're scratching.
I'm sorry. You feel like you're scratching the surface with this. Something's interfering with you, so we're not sure.
Can you hear me now? Is that better?
There we go.
Okay, yeah. Sounds like somebody has found
The surf. No. Oh no, yeah. So no, it's just me. And all I was saying is we've got plenty of runway ahead with this current product, and even though we've been around for a while, we're pretty positive that there's plenty of people who can hear about us with this one product. So focus, grow, expand capacity, and give ourselves the opportunity to create a new product down the road. So it's all about focus right now.
Okay, and again, you can check out everything at the website at fracture.me, which is the website, or you go to computeramerica.com. Right on our homepage, we have a link to the fractureme.com website. It's
fractureme.com, that works, and then fracture.me also works. The new internet suffixes are coming out in force.
Yes,
Indeed.
exactly. And also, you have an app, a mobile app as well.
We have a mobile website, not an app, but definitely a mobile website. Yep.
Mobile website. Okay, so if you can do all this on your smartphone with the mobile website.
Oh, and customer support, 9 to 5, 24/7.
9 to 5 Eastern Standard Time, but we are, we're always on. We're always checking emails, and we're always, working around the clock. So we'll get back to you as soon as we can.
Okay, so any last thing you want to tell our listeners before we say goodbye?
No, I actually just really want to tell you guys thank you for the opportunity. It was fun being on and having a chance to chat. Of course, we encourage everyone to check out Fracture, but more importantly, don't hold back. We're always looking for critical feedback, ways to improve, ideas, suggestions. We want to be the best possible for you guys. So let us know.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, again, Abhi, I want to thank you so much for being with us here. I think you have a terrific product. I mean,
Thank you.
We've seen it here, but I encourage our listeners to check it out for yourself. I think if you're looking for something really beautiful for your home, something that's...
And like I said, Mother's Day is right around the corner.
Hint, hint, guys. Keep an eye out for that.
Yeah, Mother's Day, I mean, it is really unique. You can't go to a local store and take something and go to a framing store and get something framed. This is very different. It's delivered in a beautiful box package the way it is. You even it comes out of a little mounting.
Yeah, the black foam board again, or cork board, yeah.
Comes out there, so you have it. It has the mounting hardware, everything you need ready to start, literally right out of the box. This might be something for you to consider. Again, Ben says Mother's Day, but just in general, if you have some special photos or images that you have that you want to display on your wall, this is certainly a very different way for you to do that. Again, fracture.me or fractureme.com, both websites work. Thanks for being here with us, Abhi.
Of course, Ben and Craig. Thank you guys both so much for having me.
All right, take care. Have a good
Have a good one.
All right,
You too, guys.
bye-bye. All right, so there you go. Again, it's computeramerica.com. You should definitely check this out. We have
No doubt.
Yeah, absolutely. We have computer and technology news coming up momentarily, and also just to let you know that we have our social media winner of the week coming up too. So if you've already had your entry in, you have a chance of winning that beautiful Logitech M535 Bluetooth mouse that works with any Bluetooth device. It's very, very cool. Again, head over to computeramerica.com and right there on our home page, you'll see the pull-down menu. It says Interact. It says Social Media Contests. Just click on that, and you'll see all the different social media places that you can interact with Computer America. There's Facebook, there's YouTube, there's Twitter, Pinterest, Google+. There are 5 different ones. Go to each one and either like the page, subscribe to the feed, follow the Twitter, our Twitter. Each one counts for an entry up to 5, and then you'll have 5 entries every single week from then on. You don't have to do anything more to win one of our great prizes that we give away every Friday. That's all coming up on the show. Ben, I know that we're going to be doing computer news.
You may like this one, Craig. I mean, there's a story here. Admittedly, probably sensationalized, but there's an article about a scientist who accidentally, quote unquote, created a longer-lasting battery, up to 400 times longer than traditional batteries.
I hear stories like that, and
I know, and like I've read the headline, and I was like, that has to be sensational. So we're gonna read it, but I'm not holding my breath.
And then they fade away into obscurity, and they go, "What happened to the guy?" I read
always scalability. It's always, can this be mass produced? And a lot of times it can't.
Yeah, something you read about the story about the guy who finds the automobile engine he designs. It runs on water, and they showing it. It's been on news stories, and it's got proof, and it isn't. And you never hear from them again. It's just like they disappear. Someone buys them up, or
no. Well, I mean, the conspiracy part of it is someone buys them up and buys them out. But the other part is sometimes things just don't scale.
Yeah, it could be. Boy. So
I mean, look at carbon nanotubes. I mean, and all that kind of stuff. Like there are a lot of applications. Can't make them.
Yeah. All right, well, we're going to break momentarily. This is the Computer America Show. Ben and I are going to do computer and technology news, and also we're going to have our social media contest winner for the week. That'll be coming up probably in the latter part of the next hour. But we're going to take a short break, and we'll be back with hour 2 of the Computer America Show.
Broadcasting live, it's the only national radio talk show on computers to air every weeknight. Computer America, hosted by national columnist Craig Crossman. The first hour's behind us, but there's still more of tech news, tech talk, and your phone calls. We're being beamed nationwide at ComputerAmerica.com. You got computer problems? Bring them on. You're listening to Computer America. Computers run the world, and we run computers. Call us or send us an email to live@computeramerica.com.
Hello and welcome into hour 2 of the nation's longest running, nationally syndicated radio talk show on computers. This is the Computer America Show, and I'm your host, Craig Crossman.
And I'm your co-host, Ben.
And we continue on. Again, the first hour, we had Fracture on the program, the CEO and co-founder of Fracture, Abhi Lokesh, on the program. Again, terrific. If you're looking for a really great gift idea coming up for the holiday, Mother's Day holiday, or a family photo to give her, or again, just you have an image that you want to proudly display in your home. I mean,
yeah, and I feel like that's one thing that we, that we might have glossed over, glossy, I don't know, whatever, but we might have glossed over was that because these images are printed on glass, there's no chance of them fading, discoloring, or anything like that due to sunlight, because there's no paper for the sunlight to kind of deteriorate. I'm not saying leave it directly out in the sun. I'm saying it will probably last longer than anything printed on paper.
That's too bad I didn't think of that to ask him that. That has been an excellent question. Is that how long can someone expect these things to last?
Well, so far we're going on 2 weeks and they look pretty good. So
Exactly.
we'll keep the listeners updated.
Yeah, exactly. Uh, anyway, welcome into hour 2 of the show. And what we're going to do momentarily is get into the computer technology news. But we always leave the phones open. So if you have a comment or question, we'd love to hear from you. 347-884-8881. We'll get you on and get you through. Or again, any page at computeramerica.com. The upper right-hand corner, just click it and it's a link. And you can type in your question and hit the submit button, and Ben and I will see it immediately. We also, Ben has the technology to display all the websites and everything we're going to be talking about in this segment where we do computer news. Any good movies coming out this week that we should know about?
Any movies?
Yeah, any good movies coming out this week?
I'll check for you. I again totally moved away from traditional media, so I have not been getting my daily dose of movie advertising. But April 22nd, is today. So the Huntsman Winter War.
Yes, I've seen some previews of that. I saw it's a sequel. I saw the original one.
Yes.
A few years ago, and now they've come up
The
with
Huntsman, and that was a takeoff of was it Snow White?
and the poisoned apple and
Yes.
and this is actually supposed to be a prequel.
No, Sleeping Beauty.
Sleeping Beauty. It's supposed to be. It's supposed to be Sleeping Beauty. It's supposed to be a prequel to the actual the original movie.
Right. So, but that looks like your traditional hack and slash fantasy movie kind of thing. So, if you're interested in that, there's that going on. But no, not really. The Jungle Book seems to be dominating the box office. So, yeah, there's a couple things to watch, but other than The Huntsman, that's it.
Okay. All right. Well, I think that does it for us. So why don't we do some computer and technology news and get started? Okay. Today's computer and technology news is brought to you by Slimware Utilities, the official optimization software of Computer America. You can visit them at slimwareutilities.com to clean, speed up, and optimize your Windows systems. Slimwareutilities.com. Go there, check them out. You'll be very glad that you did. You'll thank us for it, really. Slimwareutilities.com.
All right. And so I think let us start with this story. And because it's Friday, work, let's face it, it's currently about 4:00 here. So work about another hour left if you're listening to us live. The weekend is upon us. And what do you do when the weekend is upon you? You drink like you have nothing better to do. Mm-hmm. So here's a story, this one from CNET. And it's they claim it is an anti-aging gin that makes you look younger as you get drunker.
Okay.
So let's see what this is about, shall we?
Yeah.
So a new gin claims to help slow the effects of aging thanks to the addition of pure collagen during distillation.
All right.
So this, again, from CNET and from the author Andrew Hoyle, who probably had one of these while he was writing this. And the caption, of course, of the picture is anti-aging. The anti-aging is, by the way, the name of the gin. Anti-aging, aging. Okay. But yeah, so named anti-aging, the spirit was produced by UK hotel group Warner Hotels, together with food designers Bompus and Parr, and has apparently been distilled with pure collagen, along with a variety of anti-aging botanicals. So, quote here, the ingredients were specifically chosen due to their revitalizing qualities, and that is what the Warner Hotel claims, including healing sun damage, being rich in minerals, inhibiting scar formation, and to help smooth cellulite. It's starting to sound like you're going to have to apply this directly to the skin, but let's see if you can drink it. So, while the authors all for having a good night out and feeling younger, as well as probably hungover the next day, it's important to note that no scientific studies have been done into the effectiveness of the gin as an anti-aging product. In fact, many studies have shown that alcohol can accelerate the aging of your skin. I believe drinking causes you to consume less water. It really, your body kind of spends liquid to flush all that alcohol out and to process the alcohol. So alcohol actually dehydrates you and causes your skin to actually look older. But we're going to go with anti-aging's spiel for now. So, still, if you're up for drinking gin anyway, you may as well give it a shot to see if a few years fall off. You can pick it up at Warner UK's hotels or buy it directly from Drink Supermarket around the world. So your ABCs and whatnot. But
I like how they spelled it: anti, A-N-T-I, then a hyphen, then a lowercase a, then a capital G, little I-N. So it's anti-agin.
Anti-aging. So.
Yeah. Yes, that was very clever. Some marketing person, I'm sure, came up with that.
The whole thing seems like a marketing person came up with it. But it's Friday night. If you want to potentially, if the claims of the drink manufacturers is to be believed, if you want to potentially do something good for your body while you are out having a good night, anti-aging, check it out.
Wonder if you can you can't go to the local bar and order it yet, but I'm sure.
No, this seems like another bottle that you would get off of wherever fine spirits are sold.
That's right.
It seems like it would be another option on the shelf.
Yes, exactly. All right, well, we got to do this story because we teased, and I don't want this to go by. This is from the Inquirer. It's a British publication, and here we are. Scientists accidentally create batteries that last a lifetime. Let me read that again.
We weren't going to let it go by. We were just going to wait until 3 minutes before the show and then just read the headline again.
Right, exactly. Oh, we don't have time talking about this. But no. So again, scientists accidentally create batteries that last a lifetime. So here we go. It says researchers at the University of California at Irvine, have accidentally discovered a nanowire-based technology that could lead to batteries that can be charged hundreds of thousands of times. Now, a PhD candidate at the university explained in a paper published this week that she and her colleagues used nanowires, a material that is several thousand times thinner than, let's say, a human hair, extremely conductive, and has a surface area large enough to support the storage of transfer of electrons. So now, of course, nanowires are normally extremely fragile and don't usually hold up too well to repeated discharging and recharging or cycling. They expand and grow brittle in a typical lithium-ion battery, but her team fixed this by coating a gold nanowire in a manganese dioxide shell and then placing it in plexiglass-like gel to improve the reliability. And this is all by accident. They're saying that this breakthrough could lead to laptop, smartphone, and tablet batteries that last forever. Now
that's a bold claim.
Yeah, it is. Now, we're not saying that the batteries hold their charge for, you don't have to, you charge it once and never use it again. That's not what we're saying. We're talking about batteries have rechargeable batteries have a life. After you recharge them so many times, they start to fade. And
for anyone who has ever had a laptop battery and you wonder why, when you first got it, it was lasting, 8 hours on a charge, and then 2 years later go by and you unplug it and the battery lasts maybe 2 hours.
Yeah,
that's what they're referring to.
Right. So now they said that she discovered that just by using the gel, she could cycle the battery hundreds of thousands of times without losing any capacity. And he said that was crazy because these things typically die in dramatic fashion after 5,000 or 6,000 or 7,000 cycles at most. And she was doing it hundreds of thousands of times without losing any capacity. Now the battery-like structure was tested. Can you see her running to the patent office with this?
Luckily with these research grants, government grants, and university grants, that anything you do is not technically yours. So
it's the universities. The battery-like structure was tested more than 200,000 times over a 3-month span, and the researchers reported no loss of capacity or power. The coated electrode holds its shape much better, making it a more reliable option. This research proves that a nanowire-based battery electrode can have a long lifetime, that we can make these kinds of batteries a reality. The breakthrough also paves the way for commercial batteries that could last a lifetime in appliances, cars, and spacecraft. So basically, so there it is. But now there was a British fuel cell maker. They had Intelligent Energy Holdings announced earlier this year that they're working on a smartphone battery that will need to be charged only once a week.
So related kind of
kind of
story.
nice. But the big news here is that if this comes to fruition, truly Apple will be justified in offering a phone where you can't change the battery out, because guess what? You won't need to change the battery out. It'll last forever. And having replaceable batteries will be really a non-issue if this comes to fruition. You won't need to do it.
Yep. So, yeah, Craig, what do you think? Sound a little overhyped?
No, I think it's coming from a credible source, a very credible source, and I mean, it's being done by credible people. This isn't some guy in his basement, making a claim. She's a PhD candidate at the university. It's closely monitored. It's been tested over and over again. This obviously has applications. I just hope it just doesn't disappear, and we never hear about it again.
Well, yeah, and of course they actually linked the published article, so publishing is always good. But one thing that, of course, immediately struck a lot of people who were reading this was that while the article we just read used battery, that's not what was used in the published research. The term that they used in the published research was capacitor.
Mm-hmm.
And a capacitor is not a battery. It's similar, but a capacitor is meant to absorb a large amount of electricity very, very quickly, and then expend that electricity very, very quickly. Whereas a battery, that's why it takes you, half an hour to an hour to 2 hours to charge your batteries. It takes the energy in slowly, and then it releases it slowly over the period of a long time.
Mm-hmm.
So capacitors do not work in smartphones because, yes, while you could charge a smartphone in probably 20 seconds, the battery would only last, 10 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
So, what good is that? So in the research paper that this is following is that these are capacitors that actually retain their life cycle, 400% more than traditional capacitors. So that's very exciting. And that's also why at the end of the article, they mentioned a lot of different commercial applications for it.
Right.
And not consumer, because consumers at the end of the day really don't use that many capacitors. But this is huge, as I said, in cars and appliances and things like that. So, very, very cool. And I hope it reaches, the point where a lot of people start using this, because having parts that last for years instead of months, having parts that last for a lifetime instead of a decade is, obviously going to be a huge benefit.
Yeah, I agree with you completely. As I said, it always takes so long to make these things till they get to the consumer, but I'm hoping that we'll see something like this.
Well, that's the thing. These things aren't really made. Capacitors aren't for consumers.
Yeah.
So this has to find its way into cars. Like, this would be a great middle ground for electric cars. Like Tesla's quick charging batteries.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they would be extremely interested in this, because this would make electric cars much, much quicker to charge initially, and then you can kind of go a certain amount of miles on a 5-minute charge.
Yeah.
So that's exciting.
Yes, it is. Hey, listen, it's all exciting, and I just hopefully we'll see some of it come to fruition eventually. All right, what do we got next here?
So next, I think we're going to go over to Bangladesh.
Okay.
And in yet another bank scandal, we're going to call it a scandal. In another bank scandal, we are talking about a dodgy cost-cutting measure led to an $80 million hack.
Oh, Charles Tindall.
So Charles Tindall is laughing himself silly, because if there's one place you do not want to cut costs, it is making sure that you are secure, especially if you are a financial institution.
Mm-hmm.
So this one from Engadget, Mr. Billy Steele, and this is what happens when you run a bank without a firewall. So yeah, earlier this month, hackers attempting to steal $850 million from Bangladesh Bank managed to only get away with $80 million. If there was ever a sign of the times that digitally you can make off and not, if you can make off cleanly with $80 million, this is it. So After an investigation into the breach, authorities determined that the culprits gained access through a $10 secondhand switches used to network the bank's computers and the lack of a proper firewall. So transfers of the stolen funds were halted as the result of a spelling error, which is, we did another story a couple weeks ago about another bank hacking, and they misspelled some words too, and that tipped off that bank, and they shut down the transfer.
Wasn't this the same bank? We're just
It was not the same bank.
Oh, okay. Because early this month, that's when we reported on it.
No, there was another bank that they misspelled a pretty obvious word, and it set off a red flag, and they immediately kind of shut off the connection while they were transferring funds. So it's funny. It's like someone there didn't say, "Oh, where'd that $850 million go? Oh wait, shut that down." These people are being caught by a spelling error. If they had Microsoft Word, they might have gotten away with all $850 million.
Yeah. So
wow, it's crazy to think about. So, so they halted it as a result of a spelling error, and otherwise the heist could have been much worse. So what's more, the lack of proper equipment and security is making it difficult for investigators to find out how the hackers gained access or where the attack originated. So banking and security experts called the findings disturbing, noting a financial institution that handled billions of dollars didn't have the most basic security measures in place. So police in Bangladesh said that they have identified 20 people in other countries involved in the ordeal, but those folks seem to be recipients of the funds rather than the thieves responsible for the breach. Because again, you can make those funds transfer anywhere. That does not mean the ones who initiated the attack. I'm sure the people who receive funds are somehow connected. You don't just give away money randomly, but the actual hackers and attackers, they sounds like, according to this article, because of lack of proper security measures, are pretty much untraceable.
Yeah.
Charles would have a field day with this one. But I gotta say, as for my field day that I'm having with it, it's shocking that, not really shocking that they don't have proper security measures. Yes, they definitely should. There are obviously regulations in place that they skirted, that they obviously did not follow. There were rules in place to get the proper equipment. There are definitely rules in place to get the proper security. So, that doesn't shock me at all. It doesn't shock me that the person who was supposed to do this went with an off-brand switch without a proper, went with an off-brand computer switch without proper firewalls, kind of pre-built in, and they didn't install them. So it doesn't shock me that someone was lazy and that someone was cheap. It shocks me that the only true defense they had against this that actually worked, the last ditch effort, was not humans, was not people, was not any kind of oversight committee. It was, they misspelled a word here. We better look into this. That is alarming.
Yeah.
That was the thing that saved their butt.
Well, anyhow, it's certainly an interesting story, and it's just, hopefully that they've beefed up their equipment and they've added firewalls. What can I say? This,
but again, this is the bank. You're handling billions of dollars of people's money. It might be worth it to spend a couple of extra $1,000 to make sure that you are properly secured.
Yes, it does. Okay. Now, here's an interesting story. If you have Microsoft Windows, most of you do, Engadget reports that Microsoft just rolled out Windows Ink for beta testers. Now, basically, if you're a Window Insider in the Fast Ring, you can try this new tech out today. Windows Ink is available today for insiders in the Fast Ring, allowing users to sketch, write notes on sticky pads, and basically draw all over screenshots with a digital pen or your finger, if you're, if you want to do that. You have a touchscreen. The update basically adds a Windows Ink workspace, which is accessible from the system tray or by clicking the back of your connected pen. The workspace brings up pen-enabled apps like Sketchpad, Sticky Notes, and Screen Sketch, and it has a space to suggest more pen-friendly experiences. Okay. Now, the Sketchpad is basically a blank canvas with a slim selection of drawing tools, including a ruler and various ink colors. Screen Sketch allows you to draw on top of the screenshot and then share the finished product with friends or colleagues. The Sticky Notes app receives some updates, such as the ability to customize the notepads by size and color. In the future, users will be able to jot down a flight number, and Bing will pull up the relevant info. That's kind of cool. And then they'll be able to set Cortana reminders attached to their notes, among other planned upgrades to this technology. Users can also customize their pens, changing what happens when they click, double click, or press and hold them back. All of this is part of the big Windows 10 anniversary update, which is right around the corner here. So, so Windows Ink, if you qualify, you can actually take a look at it now and give it a try. It looks actually kind of cool.
It looks like there's stuff like this in Microsoft Office, and it has been, since like 2012 and stuff like that. And it's great for live document working and collaboration, but it seems like they're just kind of taking it, kind of further back.
Mm-hmm.
And it's interesting that they're working on this instead of truly getting Microsoft Edge up and running, instead of working on that. And like, I know Microsoft is a multi-billion-dollar company, and they definitely have the resources to work on more than one thing. So I don't want to say, why are you working on this when you should be working on that? But it seems like they really are trying to push out the productivity of Windows 10. We just yesterday we covered how Microsoft and Linux are really starting to, starting to integrate, and how you can now run a version of Linux natively in Windows. Like, Windows is going to have a version of Linux built in, with Ubuntu. So it seems like they're really trying to get the productivity, and especially in the tech sector, but also with things like Windows Ink in in collaborative projects, in art or documents, or this side or the other. They're really trying to get productivity out there. I can't help but think this has to do with the fact that I think, even though Windows 7 is still 56% of the market, Microsoft wants Windows 10 to be the biggest, like by far the biggest, kind of operating system out there, because they hate that Windows XP still has 20% of the market. They hate the fact that Windows 7 is still rising even after Windows 10 is a free upgrade from Windows 7. So I think they're trying to get all these productivity things out to try to get offices, businesses, and everyone else like that to upgrade to Windows 10, because it has all these great new features for productivity. I feel like that's what Microsoft is trying to go for lately.
Yeah, well, and I think that you're probably correct. I think that, but it's just it's nice to see new things coming out all the time, and it sort of holds to Microsoft's promise that Windows 10 may be the last version of Windows that you'll ever buy, and it'll just be all updates and adding new features and abilities. But we will see.
Right. So, well, with that story, we have enough time for, I think, one more.
Mm-hmm.
And, let's talk about Volvo.
Okay.
Volvo will be having an entire, it's trying to go electric. It's trying to go, electric cars. Ever since Tesla really came out with their Roadster, electric cars have been sexy for once. No offense to the Nissan Leaf, no offense to any of the other kind of hybrid electric cars, but electric cars really weren't sexy until Tesla came out with them. And now Volvo is trying to jump in on that, and they want to electrify its entire fleet and will release a battery electric vehicle in 2019. And by the way, the master plan is that Volvo will sell 1 million electrified cars by 2025. So
Are they saying that they're going to get rid of all their gas vehicles and it's all going to
That is obviously the road plan. That is what Volvo is, has said they're trying to do. They know that the future of cars is not gas. They know that the future of cars is electric cars because battery technology is just going to get better and better and better, as is the ways you can charge them. So, as I said, they want to release their first they want to release their first battery electric vehicle in 2019, sell 1 million by 2025, and I'm sure sometime after that they want to switch everything from gas or hybrid to completely battery and electric.
Wow.
That is, obviously we're tech people here, but that seems like a smart move.
Yeah, I think so.
So yeah, and of course, this is from CNET, and they have a whole nice section over there at CNET about cars and what have you. And this article, that we're going to start off with, is it's saying that gas is, of course, super cheap. Very, very simple to get right now. But of course, it won't stay that way forever. As we've seen just a couple years ago when gas went up to $5 a gallon. And, here in the US, $5 a gallon, people were losing their minds. Over in the UK, where it's already like $8 a liter, I think gas is artificially affordable. And it definitely feels that way. So, and of course, that's why despite the continuation of strong truck and SUV sales, automakers are still working to add electric cars into the mix, which is why Volvo has again announced 1 million cars by 2025 is their goal. So, and of course, now electrified doesn't infer that every vehicle will be full-on battery electric cruiser. That term can be expanded to cover anything from mild hybrids to plug-ins to hydrogen fuel cell vehicles and anything in between. So, hybrids will likely play a huge part in Volvo's plan, especially since the automaker claims it will eventually offer at least 2 hybrid variants of every car in its lineup.
Wow.
So that's what they mean by electrifying their offerings, is that at least there will be another hybrid for every model of their car. There will be a gas version and there will be a hybrid version.
Wow, exactly. Well, that's certainly ambitious and
definitely good to hear.
Yeah, it is good to hear. I mean, and obviously the only act in town won't be Tesla. I know he wanted that. I saw a Ford commercial. They were getting ready to unleash a new, sort of like a Corvette competitor, but it's gas. But it looked absolutely gorgeous, and they didn't really say too much about it. But it was a TV commercial. I gotta go look it up and see if I can find it. We're going to take a break, and then we'll come back. We'll also have our social media winner of the week announcement. We're doing computer technology news brought to you by Slimware Utilities. Another news test to review coming up as well. We'll be right back. Stay with us. Hi, this is Craig Crossman, host of the Computer America Show. Long before Vistaprint asked me to tell you about them, my wife and I have been using Vistaprint for years, making business cards, having the Computer America logo placed on the polo shirts we use at conventions like CES, even printing a business card for our personal lives with our home address and phone number. In fact, Vistaprint offers tons of custom products for home and office needs, and Vistaprint absolutely guarantees you'll love their products every time, or they will make it right. In fact, they'll give you 500 business cards for just $9.99 when you enter my promo code Craig at checkout. Just go to their website at www.vistaprint.com and see how easy it is to design your own stuff using their web-based custom design service. Remember to use my code Craig and save up to 50% over their regular pricing. So don't wait. Go to vistaprint.com and order today. Looking for a best friend? Brother Wolf Animal Rescue has your best friend waiting just for you. The mission of Brother Wolf Animal Rescue is to help build a sustainable, no-kill community where no dogs or cats are ever killed for population control, where true euthanasia is reserved only for animals who are irremediably suffering or for animals who are truly a threat to society and with no hope of rehabilitation. Brother Wolf staff and volunteers go door to door, neighborhood by neighborhood, to educate citizens about local resources available for at-risk pets and to help their families connect with those resources. Brother Wolf's community-based approach to no-kill helps keep family pets healthy, happy, and in their homes and out of the local shelter system in the first place. For more information or to make a tax-deductible donation to this wonderful 501c3 organization, visit their website at www.bwar.org. Help to realize Brother Wolf's vision when no animal is euthanized for lack of a home.
Who's a good boy?
No, Ratatouille is not made with rat. Get that thing out of here.
Marty Winston with the News Tips Bulletin Review for Computer America. This time, the ADIR Pro Cube 3D. Cube 3D is, on the level, a self-leveling triple laser level that comes with a tripod. The big switch also mechanically releases the hanging laser emitter rig from being pressed against a lower ring inside, so gravity brings the lasers within 3 degrees of plumb. Until that happens, the laser lines flash and the little box beeps. A push button on the side selects between crossed lasers, horizontal and vertical lines up front, a single vertical laser line out the side, or both. It's all powered by a trio of AAA cells and comes with separate cases for both the unit and the tripod. Bottom line, the ADIR Pro Cube 3D self-leveling triple laser level is plumb clever. Marty Winston, News Tips Bulletin for Computer America.
Welcome back to the Computer America Show. And before we get to our Logitech prize winner this week, I just want to finish up the story here real quick, again from CNET. And the last paragraph in the story, though, is very, very interesting, saying that, for anyone just joining us, we started an article on the other side of the break about how, it's about how Volvo wants to have their first battery electric car out on the market by 2019.
Yeah.
And then they also want 1 million cars sold that are battery, hybrid, electric, what have you, by 2025. But then they also have another goal. I guess Volvo is full of goals. This last article saying that the company's goals go beyond electric cars. Volvo has also stated that it hopes to achieve climate neutral operations by 2025, and it's hoping that no one will be injured or killed in a new Volvo by 2020.
Wow.
Autonomy will likely play a large part in the later objective. So I really like that other one there, saying that one of their goals is to make sure no one is ever killed or injured in a new, not by a Volvo, but what have you, but in a new Volvo by the year 2020.
Well, Volvo, again, is their number one mantra is as being the safest car on the road, and it's always
Right.
So this is by no means a departure from what it is that they're already doing, but now they're just going to be bringing that safety.
Well, still, and being the safest on the road, in a scenario where everyone's driving around in 2-ton death machines is one thing, but to say that no one is going to be killed in a Volvo is a completely different thing.
Yep.
So and I'm sure that goes along with brake assist systems, and with better crash safety ratings and better security features and what have you. But Volvo, they have a lot of very high ideals, and it's definitely good to see that they want to be like they said, climate neutral operations. So no more, no less carbon than it takes to run the place. They want the safest car on the market, and they want choice. They want electric cars. If you want any of their vehicles, they will have an electric version of the car available for you to purchase. So Volvo's doing good stuff there.
Yes, it is. All right. So Ben and I are continuing to do computer and technology news, and before we get back to that, it is that time of the week, Ben, for our social media winner.
Seems like it was just Monday.
Yes, it was. All right. This is for the Logitech M535 Bluetooth wireless mouse, and that winner is Philip Hopkins. Philip Hopkins, congratulations. You are our social media winner of the week. Philip listens to Computer America in Newberg, Oregon. Okay, Newberg. And actually, we invite comments, and he had a little comment here. It was really short and sweet. He says, "Man, I want to win." So guess what, Philip? You have won. Congratulations. So he wins the Logitech M535 Bluetooth wireless mouse. It works with Windows, Mac, Chrome OS, and Android. The M535 Bluetooth mouse works on various surfaces, from metal cafe tables to tile countertops to your favorite wooden desk, thanks to its laser-grade optical sensor. This is the Bluetooth mouse that gives you the freedom to create anytime and anywhere on the computer that you choose in comfort. Valued at $40. So congratulations to you, Philip Hopkins. You are this week's social media winner. All right. And again, you can. We might be calling your name like next week. All you have to do is go to computeramerica.com and enter in our social media contest. It's real simple, real sweet, and we could be calling your name next week. Who knows? Just
these are ordinary people. We don't, kind of make them pop up out of thin air. They're people who just go enter their information, and again, nothing invasive or anything like that.
Nope.
But very, 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 very simple. Very, very simple.
Very simple. Now, here's the thing. We're doing computer and technology news brought to you by Slimware Utilities, the official optimization software of Computer America. And this next story from Engadget, Sandy Berger loves her Amazon Echo. She has ever from the start. She's our consumer electronics expert correspondent. Appears here on every second Wednesday of the month. And one of the things she loves about her Amazon Echo, they're always adding new things to it. It just gives it more abilities. You get movie reviews, that type of thing now. Well, evidently, and of course, the thing that she loves most about it is now that she can listen to Computer America on her Amazon Echo. You can do that now. But evidently, they are now, according to Engadget, adding yet another feature, according to Nathan Ingram. Amazon Echo can now add events to your Google Calendar. Ooh, okay. So now you can go, Alexa, add dinner with Alexa to my calendar for Saturday at 8 p.m. And guess what? She'll do it. Okay. So basically, it's Friday. That means Amazon is pushing out some updates to the Echo. Evidently, they do it every Friday. Okay. And today's big addition sounds like a very useful one. You can now ask Alexa to schedule events on your Google Calendar. It'll interpret your requests and add an item for you. So to set it up, just go to the settings section of the Alexa app and tap the calendar item. The Echo has been able to read back your schedule for a while. That was nice, including shared Google calendars. But the ability to actually add events is a pretty great addition. Now, whether or not that's easier for you than shouting, "Hey Siri" or "Okay Google," and adding items directly through your smartphone remains to be seen. But if Alexa is your digital assistant of choice, you will definitely enjoy this new feature. In fact, the last few Alexa updates have been more focused on enhancing its smart home credentials. In late March, Amazon added the ability for Echo to control the Nest Learning Thermostat, and Lutron's connected lighting system started working with the Echo earlier this month in April. So there you go. So now, not only can you have it Alexa read back what your entries, you can now make you can add events to your Google Calendar with the Amazon Echo. Very cool.
I find myself using Google Calendar all the time. It's extremely convenient, and their mobile app is definitely good.
Mm-hmm.
And I definitely appreciate this. It's convenient to say the least, and I hope that more integration comes about it. But yeah, I like it.
Yeah, absolutely.
This only works again if you actually use Google Calendar. So
yeah.
If that's not your event planning, program of choice, then it does not affect you one way or the other.
Yeah.
All right, so let's move on to a scandal, because we love juicy gossip here. And this one from Ars Technica, and yes, this is by Beth Mole, and a hospital will have to pay $2.2 million for letting Dr. Oz show film without consent of the footage. So a deceased family learned of the footage by inadvertently watching it on television. So imagine the worst day of your life. Someone that you know and love has to be rushed to the hospital, to the ER, and they have to perform emergency surgery. And unfortunately, they were not able to survive. They do not make it, and all that rigmarole. And then so a week passed, 2 weeks passed. You sit down, you watch television, you watch Dr. Oz, and up pops footage of your loved one laying there on the operating table.
Ugh.
Yeah, that's not supposed to happen, especially not without your consent. And the first way that you should not learn about it is by watching it live. So, this is a New York Presbyterian hospital has agreed to a $2.2 million settlement with the federal government over the egregious disclosure of patients' health information. So, so the violations occurred after the hospital gave the ABC reality TV show New York Med, starring Dr. Mehmet Oz, or Dr. Oz, unfettered access to its healthcare facility. So, they have a quote here saying that this case will send an important message that, even though the hospital gives permission to news agencies, the people that they are filming are people, and they do not have permission for that, at least.
Right.
So, in addition to the hefty settlement, the HHS said that it will monitor the hospital for 2 years to ensure that it is protecting its patients' privacy appropriately. So, the settlement stems from an episode of New York Med filmed in April of 2011. Without consent, the film crew recorded the treatment and ultimate death of Mark Chanko, who had been struck by a garbage truck while crossing the street near his home. The crew had surreptitiously filmed from behind a closed door to collect the audio from doctors informing Chanko's family of his death.
Oh my gosh.
Callous, to say the least.
Oh.
So last year, they reported that Chanko's wife learned of the footage and audio after flipping on her television one night while she was having trouble sleeping. I'm sure this did not help.
Yeah.
And so, and they have a quote here saying that, and then I see, even with the blurred picture, you could tell it was him. You could hear his speech pattern. I hear my husband. Does my wife know I'm here? And ultimately said that I saw my husband die before my eyes. So the Chanko sued the hospital. The suit was initially dismissed, but this month the New York Court of Appeals allowed it to proceed in a unanimous decision. So it was actually dismissed handedly first.
Wow.
The family also filed a complaint with the HHS, and they said the exact same thing, that this goes against all HIPAA rules and the protected health information that every patient has a right to. This egregiously violates it.
Well, the hospital paid the government a fine, a 2-point settlement to the federal government. But what about the family? It doesn't say. Did the family get anything from this?
Well, and like I said, they sued the hospital, and but this month they allowed it to proceed. So I'm sure they are in the process of the legal battle.
Okay. Well, that's horrible. I mean, going through the death of a loved one is hard enough, and then all of a sudden to watch it on television, hear it all over again, that's despicable.
Unknowingly, like it's not even like hey, can you sign this waiver before you go into the ER? No, it was surreptitious. So
yeah, it's terrible. Well, I'm not. I can't say that I'm glad
the
that
justice system will run its course. I have no doubt about this one.
Okay. All right. Well, Ben and I are, of course, doing computer and technology news brought to you by Slimware Utilities, and there are a number of good stories here to choose from. There's one that I want to do that basically says that Facebook, this is from a gadget, is ranking articles based on how long you read them. Not on the fact that you read them, but how long you read them. So it now checks the time you spend on an article after clicking away. The instant articles and other content in your Facebook newsfeed aren't picked by magic. Facebook scrutinizes what kind of stories you want to read based on your clicks, shares, or comments, and then serves up more of the same. Facebook already analyzes how long you spend reading stories while you're still in the app. Now, It will also measure how long you spend on an article after you click away from the newsfeed without counting the load times. So naturally, Facebook decided to make the changes based on yet more analytics gleaned from its feed quality program. After surveying thousands of people, Facebook found out that likes, sharing, and comments don't tell the entire story about whether someone wants to see an article. Okay. For those of us who almost never like, click, or comment on random articles, that seems pretty obvious. Specifically, Facebook pointed out that people often don't do anything with articles about a serious current event or sad news from a friend. Okay. So the goal, Facebook says, is to better understand which articles might be interesting to you based on how long you and others read them. So you'll be more likely to see stories you're interested in. Okay, that's not bad. At the same time, it will try to avoid being repetitive by reducing how often and how frequently you see posts from the same publisher. Overall, this won't affect your news feed much, as Facebook promises you may see a small increase or decrease in referral traffic. The changes will roll out over the next few weeks. So there you go. That's just another refinement.
You say refinement, but it's just another way that Facebook, let's face it, because you don't pay anything for Facebook, you don't pay to make an account or anything like that. They are really working to make, they're really working to get every little piece of data out of what you're doing while you are on Facebook. So, article views are one thing, 10,000 people viewed your article. And those 10,000 people, and now they can say those 10,000 people only viewed your article for 17 seconds. Mm-hmm. And so, what do you do with that information? That, it's like, well, if you're Facebook, you can say, well, if you promote this, we can increase not only the amount of people that see it, which was all they were recording before, but now they can probably say, we can get that read time up to 43 seconds instead of 17 seconds. So it gives them another metric that they can use to show their customers that what they're paying for was worth it. This is definitely done with a reason, and showing you and showing people how long it took you to read the article is definitely important, because someone who looked at it for 2 seconds, read the headline and clicked away. That's not very important if you're trying to get a point across. Mm-hmm. But if you can measure that, they actually stayed there for 2 minutes and they read the whole article. Okay, that's very good. It's it's just another metric.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Oh boy, I'll tell you this. It goes with privacy.
Well, first of all, if you sign up for Facebook, you give up all privacy.
That's true. That's true. And there are people that just say, hey, if they can get me things that are more relative to what I'm interested, rather than showing me junk that I'm not, they're for it. So you have to take that on into consideration.
Right. So, and let's get this one, because this is one that we've been kind of skirting around. We had a couple of stories that we didn't get to over the past week, but people are reporting more and more about Apple and how they are really recruiting for what appears to be an Apple car. Yeah. And I know it seems like, fairy tales and, unicorns and gumdrops and what have you, but Apple is doing a lot of weird things with their recent hiring and with their recent patents that lead a lot of people to believe that an Apple car could be on the way. So, and hey, let's face it, a car is definitely different than a watch.
Yeah.
So Apple's not so secret Project Titan electric car program is on a roll, as Apple poaches yet another engineer from Tesla Motors. And by the way, those are some of the articles that we didn't cover, was that Apple actually hired, some of the founding members of Tesla, and Apple has taken them into the fold. Yeah. So
this is an engineer.
Yeah. So this Tesla Motors engineer joined Apple earlier this month to become senior model maker at Apple's product realization lab. They're saying that David, who left Tesla in March, previously listed his title as Senior CNC Programmer R&D Hardware Prototyping. I have no idea what that means, but in other words, he helped build prototypes of components used on Tesla's powertrain, suspension, and chassis. So the background of David's new place of work, combined with Apple's hiring of Tesla engineering vice president and former Andretti Autosports CNC shop supervisor Kevin Harvey, hints strong that Apple is prototyping car parts. So the production realization lab has also been used to model other Apple products, including Macs and mobile devices. So they want to say there with that last sentence that things that are in the product realization lab have come to fruition in a big way. And they're also saying that, this is just another one in a long string of hires that show that Apple is getting very serious about getting the right people on the team that are going to produce a high quality car.
Of course, as the article ends, 4 words.
Apple declines to comment. Of course.
Apple declined to comment. Okay.
Of course, because hey, let's face it. If they want, before this ever reaches the light of day, if they ever run into anything where they're like, "Oh, this makes it completely infeasible," then they'll, put it on the back burner, scratch it, and go on with their lives and be like, "Oh, we only make smartphones. Don't look at that over there." But they're saying that the possibility of Apple producing its own electric car is a very real one.
Yeah. It is.
Between their recent hires, between what they're patenting, between just everything that they're doing, Apple. Craig, would you be excited about an Apple electric car?
I would be very excited about an Apple electric car, except the point from the time they announced it to the time it actually became available would be some time.
Right, but like now that Tesla has obviously proven that an electric car can be sleek, it can be in high demand, it can be, at least with the Model X, affordable. I'm sorry, the Model 3, an electric car can be affordable at $35,000. I think Apple is seeing what Tesla's doing and says, we have a lot of cash on hand. We got to get into something. And the electric car market, I would not be shocked if Apple came out and said, all right, let's branch out. Let's get into another segment because, at least here in the US, they pretty much own the mobile phone market. They, whereas they are only, I think like 25 or 30% of the mobile phone market, Android has the other. As for singular phones and singular operating system, Apple is the most popular phone and the most popular operating system.
Yes, it is.
If you don't lump Android altogether. So they have a commanding lead there, but we saw with the Apple Watch, they want to get into different fields because let's face it, the Apple Watch was jewelry. There's no way around it. It was a, kind of a digital, kind of a gadget, what have you, but it broke into the jewelry market.
Yes, it
because that's what watches are. So Apple recently is not afraid to get into new markets. It's just, a $250 Apple Watch is much, much different than a potential 5-figure, product.
Yeah. I think it's too early to call, but yes, I think if Apple does come with a car, I certainly would be interested in seeing what it was that they have to what they'll produce. We don't have. I think we have time just to mention a couple of stories here. We just don't have time to actually do them. One of them was basically, remember the airplane that thought a drone got in the way, hitting a.
Yeah, that was in the UK, and they thought a drone, like someone was taking pictures of planes with drones, and the drone got in the way of a plane takeoff.
Right. Well, they're saying that the drone may just have been a plastic bag.
That's a knee-jerk reaction.
Yeah, exactly. So we can't get into the details, but we might maybe next week we'll get some more credibility to that. But they're saying that. And then the other thing that I wanted to mention is that we were talking about ad blockers. Evidently, this is according to the stack that sites that block ad blockers seem to be suffering. In other words, remember I told you I was going to one website that I continue to go to, and every time I go, it says, oh, we see you have an ad blocker. You need to turn that off. Well, I've already turned it off for your entire site. Yet it still comes up and telling me if I didn't really want to use that website, I would have, not gone back there. But every time I go, it says turn my ad blocker off. And evidently, sites that are blocking ad blockers are, according to this article, they seem to be doing poorly. And the latest imminent apocalypse is the dramatic rise in the use of ad blocks, particularly new innovations in ad blocking in the coveted mobile space, even at the network level. And so and the story goes on and in great detail, but we just don't have time to get to it. But
we've heard so much belly aching from ad producers, and obviously they make their money by people looking at what they create. But we've seen so many kind of knee-jerk, half-baked reasons why they should not be allowed. Freedom of expression, First Amendment right. It's art. You're censoring our art. And at the end of the day, how many more banners of, hey, buy this product and, your hair will grow in 3 weeks. It's like, dude, how is that art? You're just trying to push something.
Yeah.
And be pushy about
it. You would hope that they would get the message. This is just going to continue to develop. Story, and we'll continue to follow it. I'm sure there'll be more stories on this topic. Also, another one we didn't get to is from Tech Hive. Apple's is being iBook Store and iTunes Movies is being shut down by the Chinese government. The persona non grata, evidently, its service is being turned down in China. And they're saying that the shutdown of the services could affect the relationship between Apple and the Chinese government.
And that's one other article we didn't get into, where Google and Microsoft will no longer be battling each other in court. They are dropping all litigation against one another.
Okay, that's the
that was not the big story that came out today.
Yeah. So anyway, hopefully we'll get to them next week. But about wraps up the show. Again, Ben and I want to thank Fracture's CEO and co-founder Abhi Lokshak for being here on the show. And again, check them out at fracture.com or fractureme.com or fracture.me. Coming up tomorrow on Monday, we're going to have Steel Wool Games. They're going to be here. They're going to be talking about their main game, which is QUAR, Q-U-A-R, Battle for Gate 18. Okay, we're going to have them on the show, and then in the second hour, we'll have computer and technology news brought to you by Slimware Utilities, the official optimization software of Computer America. And that wraps it up. Thank you all so much, and Ben and I will see you on Monday. So until Monday, this is Craig Crossman, hoping that your hard disk never becomes floppy. We'll see you Monday afternoon.
Yep, have a good one, everyone.
10 seconds.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for using Blog Talk Radio. Goodbye.
Again, everybody, thank you for watching our live streaming video. And Ben and I will see you on Monday after noon. Have a great weekend. And we'll be seeing you on Monday. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.